In 2014, the highest-paid major by far was petroleum engineering, and many observers mention it as an example of how technical skills pay off. What they don't mention is that petroleum engineering has not always paid off. It has gone boom to bust along with oil prices. It was a bust in the 1980s, when graduates in that field were likely to find themselves waiting tables. Since the fracking boom started late in the first decade of the 21st century, enrollments tripled, increasing by 55% in just 1 year between 2011 and 2012. The schools producing the graduates believe, rightly, that the huge surge in supply will crush wages and soon make the field unattractive again. Employers who say that right now they want students with degrees in this field aren't promising to hire students who go into these fields when they graduate. They understand that they can't time the market in order to know what skills will be hot in 4 or 5 years, and would never make commitments like that. They want you to make those commitments and to take on that risk. As we will see in Chapter 4, a big drawback to taking that risk is that what employers want now from college graduates is job skills, and outside of a few fields like petroleum engineering and IT, this has rarely been what college produces. The big shift in college has been toward degrees and majors that mimic, at least in name, specific job titles like music therapy or forensic accounting. These fields sound as though they are producing job skills that allow a graduate to step right into a career. Whether employers actually value whatever those students learn is an open question, though. Data that might tell us, such as job placement rates, are hard to come by, and what we do know from employers suggests that they don't much care about the academic skills that students have. Perhaps these degrees are just table stakes, a necessary condition to get into the game of finding a job. A missing piece in the discussion about jobs from college begins with a reminder that all of the focus has been on getting the first job. That first job is truly important, but it is no longer the elevator to a predictable career either. The high-paying first jobs that are hot at the moment in fields like engineering and IT are also notorious for being short-lived. Technologies change quickly, especially in fields like IT, and with it so do skill requirements. The fact that employers can go back to the colleges and hire new graduates to meet those skill needs is precisely why graduates in those fields 5 years or so out are no longer very valuable. In big companies a generation or so ago, some of that technical talent would transition to management, but now that is rare. Ask yourself this question. If you were to look around a country club or some other establishment where the successful in midlife congregate, how many of those people would you guess would be working as engineers, biologists, or mathematicians? One's career is a long-term, perhaps increasingly a lifetime engagement. One of the costs to consider when we pursue courses that are highly practical and potentially attractive to employers in a first job is what we could have been taking instead, and how it might be useful later on. After all, the choice does not have to be between learning the reporting requirements of HIPAA, the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, or playing beer pong. We could be taking courses that are less applied but more fundamental. There is at least some evidence that the short-run focus on practical coursework that might help get the first job has negative consequences for our longer-term career. Unfortunately, there is no single piece of evidence showing how a college degree will pay off even for a typical student, let alone for the individual ones we care most about. The gap between what the average college grad earns and what the average high school grad earns is often presented as that silver bullet evidence.